One day somebody called my radio show and said, Mr. Cain, I've just given up. I said, thank you very much for calling. Bye. I don't like being around people who give up. Because when people give up, it's over. Even though this is a mess, even though we have problems in this country, it's still the greatest country in the world, even with our problems. Make some noise and send those emails to your representative and your senators, because when they hear from you, they will pay attention. They don't tell you that, but they do listen. Send those emails. Make those phone calls if you don't want to send an email. But you've got to know your representative's name. You've got to know who your two senators are. Call the Capitol switchboard and ask for their office. And when you get their office, you say, I want to speak to the person that works on immigration or taxes or health care. They're going to let you talk to a staff person, but let me tell you what that staff person is doing. And the system is set up such that if you put in your, your 9-digit zip code, it automatically tells you who your representative is and who your senators are. So, yes you do. They say, well, where do I get the other 4 digits? Y'all not gonna believe this. Look at a piece of junk mail. They know where you are. They knew where you were before the NSA. I just wanted a job so I could make me some money. You know, my mom was a domestic worker. My dad, he was a barber, a janitor, a chauffeur. And my American dream was to get a good education. I was the first person in my family to go to college. Get a good job, work for Region Bank for 35 years and get a gold watch and retire. That was a lot of people's American dream. But in today's environment, things change a lot. Most people don't have just one career anymore. I've had 9. Really, I counted them up the other day. I've had 9 careers in 45 years.
Just like a cat.
That's right. Like a cat, 9 lives. Or like 999. But I did not dream of ever running for president of the United States of America. But after I had achieved my American dreams, plural, I wanted to do something to make things better for the next generation. Just like most of us. Most of you all in this room are in a position not to care. But you do. I have 2 grown kids, age 41 and 35, and 4 grandkids. And that's why I read the riot act to young men I don't even know in a luggage store. Because it's not about us, it's about them. And that's why we do what we do. And we cannot give up. My dad worked 3 jobs. He was a barber, a janitor, and a chauffeur. And he worked all 3 of those jobs at one point, all at the same time. Dad needed one job to keep a roof over our head, and a second job to keep food on the table, pay the bills, and a third job to save for his dream. Dad's dream wasn't that gold watch. Dad's dream was a house, a whole house that We could call our own, and he could call his own. He left a little small 3-room shack in Tennessee at the age of 18 with just the clothes on his back. The only kind of equity that Dad had when he left that little farm was sweat equity. Sometimes I get interviewed by reporters who want to know, well, why do you object to raising the minimum wage? My answer is, that's not the government's role. Let the marketplace decide.
That's right.
Well, how is someone trying to raise a family supposed to raise a family off minimum wage? My answer is, don't.
Right.
You're not supposed to. Well, Mr. Cain, this is the smart-ass gotcha question. Well, what are they supposed to do? Do what my dad did. Work 2 jobs if you have to, until you can live off of 1 job, instead of whining about you ain't making enough off of that minimum wage job. People whining in this town. We want bills? No. I'm not mad at y'all, I just get passionate about it. Do what my dad, that's why I don't cut anybody any slack when they want to challenge me on this minimum wage issue. Because I had a dad and a mom who did what they had to do to achieve their dreams, and they never said, well, we need to get a higher minimum wage, or we need to get this from the government. So that's where I get my DNA from. And Dad's dream was to buy a whole house. We lived in a duplex house most of the time I was growing up. A 6-room house with 3 rooms on one side, 3 rooms on the other side, with a wall going down the middle. We lived in half of it. You know, and being smart as kids, my brother and I had one brother. We used to say, Dad, how do we live in a half a house? Dad would say, it's a duplex. Dad, we only live in half of it. Shut up, it's a duplex. Because we didn't know Dad was saving to buy that whole house. And I'll never forget the day that he came home and told my mother, my brother, and I to get in the car. We got in the car. Man working 3 jobs is usually home on a Saturday to begin with. We got in the car. Dad drove west on Bankhead Highway, and about 30 minutes later, he pulled onto a little street called Albert Street. Little street called Albert Street, west of town, out in the suburbs. All the time we went to the suburbs, we were on our way out of state. Pulled up and stopped in front of the 3rd house on the right. Little brick house with grass growing around, a lawn. Not attached to another house. And Dad announced to my brother, my mother, and I, this is our new home. We said, what? He said, this is our new home. We couldn't believe it. We jumped out of the car. My brother and I ran up to the house. Door wasn't open. Dad walked up very proudly with the key. Put the key in the front door, don't you know? Went inside. This house had 2 bedrooms. Dad said, 1 for you boys, 1 for your mom and me. And I'm gonna buy y'all twin beds. We said, twin beds? We thought we'd die going to heaven. Living in that duplex, my brother and I slept on a cot in the kitchen. Every evening we'd argue over who was supposed to let it out. Every morning we would argue over who was supposed to take it up. That's when I started to sharpen my early debating skills. Dad achieved his American dream by working and using the only kind of equity he had, sweat equity. Not food stamp equity, sweat equity.
That's right.
My mother was was in tears of joy. She didn't know Dad had saved enough money for that house. She didn't even know Dad had gone out and bought the house. Don't try that today, man. Not a good idea. If he came home and told you he bought a house that you didn't see, no, that wouldn't work today, y'all. So don't try it. She put those hands on those hips and that neck started moving. But that was Dad's and Mom's American dreams, and they achieved it. They wanted to give their sons a little bit better start in life, and they had, and they did. So that's why I do what I do, and that's why you do what you do. You're trying to give your kids and your grandkids a little bit better start in life. That's what we all do, and that's why we can't give up on this country. And if you ever think about giving up, I want you to remember something that a lady who was rescued from the Holocaust by the name of Berta, in line to go into a gas chamber. When the Allied soldiers showed up and told Berta and the rest of the folk, the war is over, you're free. And Berta was asked by a reporter later, did you ever give up hope? She said no. And the reporter wanted to know why. You saw people dying every day. You were in line. You were next. Why didn't you give up hope? Without blinking, Berta said, giving up is a permanent solution to a temporary condition. The condition is temporary, and it's up to us to get it back on the right track. It's not going to be because we get the next Ronald Reagan. It's not going to be because we have 535 statesmen and stateswomen in Washington, D.C. It's going to be because of the working class. It's going to be because of us. It's going to be because we vote, we make some noise, and we pay attention. And I went to Morehouse College and graduated in 1967, and a great man was president of that college when I was a student there by the name of Dr. Benjamin E. Mays. And I'll never forget the inspiring words that he used to share with the young men of Morehouse a lot. When he would say, it's not a calamity without achieving your goals. The calamity is having no goals to reach for. And he said it's not a disaster to be unable to achieve your dreams. The disaster is having no dreams to reach for. You know what my dream is, folks? To keep this nation the greatest nation in the world. Thank you very much. The negativism that some people have. Work on the right problem. It's what Sean says. Know where you're going. Know what you're trying to achieve. Know what your mission is. Know what your objective is. Because if you don't, you'll get there. You need to know where you're trying to get to. And then the other key component is removing barriers that prevent you from getting there. And sometimes those barriers are other people. Sometimes those barriers are things that you cannot control. But if you always know where you're trying to get to, what it is you're trying to achieve, you can stay focused on that, and you can then look at things, to use an old cliche, of a glass half filled instead of a glass half empty. That way you are able to deflect a lot of that negative stuff that might come at
A
you.
lot of people, Herman, have doubts. They doubt themselves.
Yes, because if people doubt themselves, they're going to have to do some very strong internal searching of themselves. I've known a lot, and I always describe it this way: not everybody wants to be a leader. Not everybody wants to succeed. I know that might be hard to believe, but a lot of people are happy on the planet of mediocrity. But so those people that do want to succeed, the people that do want to achieve great things, it's already inside of them. It's already inside of them.